Hi everybody, welcome to Phyto Foods. My name's Taryn Bellavance and I want to help you fight aging, fight disease, and get super lean by learning to prepare and enjoy a plant-based diet. Today I want to show you how to make farro rustica, which is a featured dish from Phyto Foods. It's made with an ancient whole grain from Italy, sun-dried tomatoes, sweet basil leaves, baby spinach, and lots of other yummy things from the plant kingdom. Okay, so before we get started, let's talk about a couple questions you might have, like what's a phytofood and why a plant-based diet? Well, phyto refers to plant, so phytochemicals are the literally thousands of plant nutrients that have been discovered and that scientists continue to find in whole food, in fruits, vegetables, legumes, whole grains, and beans, all the stuff we know we should be eating lots of anyway. And as it turns out, those same foods that keep us lean and fit are also what fights disease and aging in our body. So it just makes sense that we would want more of these foods in our diet. So, are you ready to get started and learn how to make a delicious Phyto Foods dish that has no added fats and nothing whatsoever refined? Let's go. So here are the main ingredients for our farro rustica, beginning with the farro itself, which is, again, an ancient whole grain from Italy. This is so primitive. This is actually one of the first grains ever cultivated by human beings. And that's really what we want to see more of in our diet, is the whole grains, the primitive foods, as opposed to all the refined flours and stuff that we use so much of. This is not only a good source of fiber, it's actually a good source of iron and even protein. We tend to think of just animal foods for protein when you can actually get a lot of good quality protein from plant foods. So that's the farro, that's the basis for the whole dish. It's what's going to provide the filling, starchy part of the dish. And then we also have some baby carrots cut in bite-sized pieces, the sweet basil, sun-dried tomatoes, and do not use the kind that have been marinated in oil because we don't need all that extra oil in our dish. Some zucchini julienne, some baby spinach, which I haven't even sliced because this is actually, I have some small pieces so you can leave it as is, and some chopped onion. Now, this is pretty typical of a Phyto Foods dish in terms of complexity and number of ingredients. Actually, most of our dishes are even simpler than this, because the goal at Phyto Foods is really to help you, it's more about helping you get healthy than it is about teaching you how to cook. And we focus in the classes as much on, what to eat and why to eat more plant foods as we do how to prepare them and put them together. So again, most of the dishes are even more simple than this, but we always are going to focus on the types of foods that are nutrient dense and calorically dilute. So let's move over to the stove and start putting this together. Okay, so I've got two pans going over here. This is a saucepan to which I've added the sun-dried tomatoes, 3 cups of veggie broth, and the farro. And I am going to let this simmer, and what's going to happen is it's going to plump up and soak up all the juice. Meanwhile, in a cast iron skillet, I am frying up the onions and a little bit of minced garlic in some veggie broth and balsamic vinegar. So in other words, I'm not using any oil, and that is a technique, sauteing without oil, that we teach in the class. This is going to provide some incredible flavor without any added fat. In fact, I'm going to add just a little more liquid. And then, I've been frying this for a couple minutes. I'm going to add some dried Italian seasoning and some red pepper just to give it a little kick. Give our farro rustica some added spice. And I'm going to stir this in just until it's fragrant. Give the spices a chance to mingle. Then I'm going to add our carrots. And the carrots aren't going to cook all the way through. They're going to stay a little crunchy, which gives the dish extra texture. I'm going to make sure they're coated right now. And then, you know what, and I'm going to add just a little more liquid. I want them to cook a little bit. And now I'm going to add our zucchini. This smells fabulous. Our farro and sun-dried tomatoes are plumping up nicely. Still juicy. Sun-dried tomatoes full of antioxidants. I'm going to go ahead and add our baby spinach and our sweet basil. And I'm going to stir these together just enough so that the spinach can wilt. It's not going to overcook. We want to keep this as fresh as possible. It tastes better that way, and it retains a lot of the nutrients. So I am going to not let this cook too much longer. Just enough to blend it and allow it to wilt a little bit. Right, so adding the cooked grains to the sautéed veggies. Okay, so there we have our beautiful, colorful, nutrient-rich Phyto Foods dish. Okay, so now for the real test. Because it doesn't matter how healthy it is if it doesn't taste good, right? So here we have our delicious plant-based dish. Lots of beautiful colors, whole grain, everything completely natural. And I'm going to give it a try. It's really good. I love that it has all these different textures. It's got strong flavor that's coming from the foods themselves and not from all the added oil and all the added salt. It's delicious. I mean, I'm always amazed at just how good food that comes straight from the earth is, the food that we were meant to eat. I honestly don't know why you would eat anything but Phyto food.